Hello there. Kyle Katarn here.
I'm the Bendu.
Coming back for another community Q&A.
Which is exciting because, as you know, we are here at Mandalorian Season 2 Eve.
Yes, we are just biding our time right now.
Wait till midnight. So
Yeah, it's 9 p.m., comes out at midnight, so we're hours away. We're in the home stretch.
But yeah,
God,
thank you
been
for...
hanging out for this show, just holding on for it, you know?
It's very true. Yeah.
Keep me going, so it better be good.
Thank you for submitting all of your questions.
Yes.
Well, I mean, going to that, they've already started Season 3, and I think...
yeah, there's a lot of
Favreau
confidence
put out
in
like a 2021 release date already or some shit. Like,
yeah, they're
jumping the gun early.
Disney's very
That's kinda what they
confident
did
about
for
what
this
they're
one.
gonna do with it. Like they assume that it's gonna be really well received, and that they're like, this is our cash cow. So we're gonna start off with some Patreon questions, and then I'm gonna move on to the YouTube questions. Got a whole bunch of great ones, so this is gonna be really fun. First question comes from formerly Darth, Gonk666. You may remember him from our Squadron streams. Knowing what we know now of Yoda from the prequels and the originals, what do you expect to see from Yoda in the High Republic era? Still as wise as he was in the PT, OT, and ST? Presumably, Yoda was just like always wise, but I think it would be really cool to see brash, young, headstrong Yoda, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, when he's talking to Luke in the hut and talking about how Anakin was always like rushing off to do this and all these like terrible things, it'd be awesome if he was like also self-describing how he was when he was young, like 900 years ago. That would be really cool. And that would be something that we haven't seen. We see a little bit of mischief with Baby Yoda, you know?
Completely.
It's a very similar vibe, but no, that would be really cool. I'd be totally down to see headstrong, not thinking quite as clearly yet, like clouded by emotion Yoda. Emotional Yoda. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it's interesting that you say headstrong, because I'm like, they could either make him super clowny, like Avatar Aang, which is what I was actually really thinking. Like, he's probably going to be like, well, the monks kind of taught me this sort of situation, but like, if he's definitely like a headstrong Yoda, and then he's just like humble throughout the story arc, like that would be interesting.
It would be like the perfect time and place to tell the story of how Yoda got wise.
Like,
you know,
getting
if
the
in
shit
fact
beat out of him a little bit.
Yeah, by going on adventures of his own, you know, and learning mistakes.
Versus the inherent wise.
Yeah, Yoda's always teaching the lessons, and it'd be great to watch him learn the lessons, you know.
That's true. So I think they'll either go that way, or potentially like an Avatar Aang sort of situation where he's just like, or not Aang necessarily, probably more like Korra. You haven't met Korra yet, but like,
yeah, these are foreign names.
It'll be. Well, Aang, you know, Aang.
I'm just kidding. I've heard them all. I know these people. I haven't seen the episodes, but like Avatar's been around for such a long time, and it's been around me for a long time that I'm familiar with faces and things.
Or just the archetype.
I just don't know how it all fits together. Is really what I still have to experience. Awesome. Next question comes from Splinter of the Mind's Eye, one of the flight commanders of Katarn Squadron.
Nice.
How would you feel if Gina Carano left the show, leaving the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I think that it really depends on how it's written. Like, if they kill her off, okay, she's gone. She's like a pretty well-liked character, so it would be emotional.
It would be a sacrifice.
It would be jarring, and like, you know, I feel like they could do that effectively. But it can't be like Poochie died on the way back to his home planet kind of thing. Like, that would be bullshit. Yeah. I don't think she needs to leave the show. I don't really give a shit about Gina Carano one way or the other, but I like Cara Dune. I think Cara Dune's a cool character.
I was gonna say, I definitely don't think that they'll pull a soap opera sort of situation of like, this character is now portrayed by this actor,
right?
Sort of situation.
Or like when Ana Lucia got the DUI and then she got killed off of Lost, like just like that.
That's true. Or with the Mountain, how he's had like 3 different incarnations throughout history, but shit.
Always played by a different dude.
I mean, like.
No. I don't think. I think that they're.
I think it would be a sacrifice.
I think the continuity is very important to the new Disney like production, and that they wouldn't recast the character we've seen. They would simply, if the relationship with the actress ends, they kill the character off. Simple as that. Or introduce her sister to continue her storyline, who's a new actress kind of thing. But I don't think that they would try and. They're not gonna do what like they did with Rachel in The Dark Knight and like just try and fool the audiences. Just don't talk about it. Just don't talk about it. Maybe they won't notice. Like, no, Star Wars understands that, like, Star Wars nerds nitpick the fuck out of everything. That wouldn't fly. So they wouldn't do that, I don't think. But how would I feel if she left the show? I would feel...
Fuck.
I wouldn't feel any type of way about it, but I would hope that they would like write it a very exciting, like fitting tribute, like a good end for her character, because her character has a good story that I do want to explore. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to see why she's hanging out with fucking what's his nuts, the bounty hunter boss.
Oh, he's a magistrate now. Bruce Karga. He's a legit man again. Yeah. But I want to know more about her.
They're like hanging out, so I'm curious. Like, oh, okay.
I want to see her dropping Imperials back during the Galactic Civil War as a rebel dropper, and I want to see her like passed on Alderaan. That's what I want to explore more. Lord Vader himself asks. I actually had a question about your background, Kyle Katarn. What kind of models are those ships behind you? They don't look like Bondi. Am I wrong? No, you were not wrong. They are not Bondi. So, the SSD. This is the SSD.
It's like 3 different groups.
Yes, it's a mishmash of different things. This is the SSD Dominatrix, flagship of Katarn Squadron, and it is the Fantasy Flight Games Armada model. Also from Armada are the Raider and the I can't fucking remember what it's called, but the little guy that was in Empire at War. They're both from Armada. The ship is.
It'll come to him in a second.
All of the smaller fighters that I have down here are the Micro Machines series, and then a couple of them are Hot Wheels. And then again on the other side, you've got the CR-90 Corvette behind your head, and then the Ghost in the corner. Yes, there you go. And those are also the Fantasy Flight Games Armada. Cool. I don't have any Bondi. I would like to get a Bondi model. I'm like, assemble them all, paint them all. I've never been great with my hands. I'm always like, I don't do a great job with the paint jobs
Bondi
and everything.
Are the ones where you actually have to like put.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And they're higher quality and they're beautiful models, but there's a little bit more skill and expertise involved, and that's not necessarily my area.
Oh yeah, no, like they're Gundam models for sure.
Oh yeah, remember the Gundam craze in the '90s? When
dude,
when everyone was building like the really big ones and everything.
Tsunami, yes.
I could never afford or like have the time and patience as a kid to like build the huge Gundams. But when we go to the local, but like living in New Zealand, I'd like go to the local mall and they would have a big glass case in the middle of the food court that had like the fancy Gundams on display, and like some of them would like have like moving parts and stuff.
Yeah,
that was the coolest. I just go hang out and look at those. They were very cool. Awesome. Those are all of our Patreon questions, and now let's see what the YouTube folks have to say.
Which is pretty cool because you give us a wide range of things.
Absolutely.
Thank you all the Katarn Squadron questions.
We have 51 questions.
I was gonna say I've been watching you guys fly and dogfight, and it's just like a beautiful game. I am not a flyer.
We will get you in those scouts.
I'm very Obi-Wan.
We're gonna get him in the cockpit one of these days.
Yeah, well,
one of these days.
So we have tried. There's no footage of it because
it was a dark day. We swore to never speak of it again.
It was like one of the starting of quarantine days, and like it was one of those things of just like Katarn sat me down and he was like, Bendu, you're gonna fly, and we just put on fucking Battlefront, and he's like, this is what you're gonna do. And
Starfighter Assault.
Yeah.
I jumped him in the deep end.
I miss the old school Battlefront.
Yeah, 2004, 2005. Those were the glory days. LucasArts was at its peak. Pumping out Force Unleashed, Jedi Academy, all kinds of amazing things. Sam Carter says, hypothetical question. If Disney greenlit a Kyle Katarn-based show, who would you want to play Katarn and Jan Ors?
Man.
So I think it would be hilarious if Vanessa Marshall was able to portray Jan Ors, who was the voice of Jan Ors in Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, and is also the voice of Harrison Dula, which I always thought was an interesting parallel. I think it would be extra hilarious if then she came back and played live-action Jan Ors as well. Jan Ors, I think, is traditionally Asian, so that might not.
Okay, I was trying
so visually, that might not work.
I was trying to remember, like, what the fuck does she look like?
Vanessa Marshall's very much a white chick, but yeah, no, Jan Ors is not. She's got more of like an olive complexion. Kyle Katarn, it might surprise you to know that I haven't actually given that a whole lot of thought.
I know who I would have said in the early 2000s, fucking President what's his nuts from Independence Day, whose name I can't think of.
Bill Pullman?
Yeah, Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
He could have been a good guy.
Lone Star.
Or
I can see it. No, Bill Pullman would not have made a terrible Kyle Katarn. I would honestly go in the direction of a younger David, a slightly younger, slightly thinner David Harbour from Stranger Things, the sheriff.
If
Give him-
you were thinner, you said.
Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah,
slim him, like make him like more
I
built,
was
less
literally
like chunky,
thinking
and then
about
give him like a thicker beard. He could be a Kyle Katarn.
I was literally thinking about the captain from Star Trek who has the beard. First command for fucking.
Oh, Riker.
Stewart. Yeah. If you could slim down Riker.
Get the fuck out of here! You want Jonathan Frakes
If you could.
to be get the.
Because I'm just picturing him from his sci-fi.
It's an urban
show.
legend. No, it's made up. It's a myth. It's false.
Him in a
We
suit?
made it up. It's false.
Exactly.
It's an urban legend that never
I'm thinking of his character in fucking enforced combat of like, let's see what this saber can do, and I'm just like, I can just see that. I can see the fucking that voice doing it.
No. While we're at it, we'll have.
There's no modern day.
Like while you're at it, you're gonna say like Jeff Goldblum who played Jan Ors or some shit like.
Negative. That'd be horrible. It'd be William Dafoe.
No, God, I'm blanking on the name of the actor, but the guy who played Josh Holloway, who played what's his face on Lost, Sawyer from Lost, would make a good Kyle Katarn. Also, I think.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting
and also, of
choice.
course, I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. The dude from Farscape. What's his name?
Oh,
Guy who plays
fuck,
Clayton.
The only American dude. In
Yeah,
the
Ben
fucking- I
Browder.
have no idea what
Ben
his name
Browder.
is. Well, we're gonna
Ben
post
Browder.
a picture of his
He gets
face
my
real
vote.
quick.
I don't know why I didn't think of that
Farscape
sooner.
Was such a glorious. He was Australian, yeah.
It was Australian.
It was
I love
such a good
Farscape.
sci-fi show.
But Ben Browder would be an amazing Kyle Katarn.
That's a good choice. And then you would immediately have to countercast the dinosaur villain as the dude who played Drogo in the show. Also, the red dude with the tentacles. You would have
yep.
his best friend character. You would have to totally like.
Khal Drogo. No, not
Yeah,
Khal
or no,
Drogo.
what the fuck was
What
his
is
name?
his?
I thought it was like Drago or Drogo.
It is.
or
It's like
something
it is like
that.
Drago or
Yeah.
something.
Countercast him with a dinosaur head. That'd be great. I'm down for that. There's enough people in that cast. But no one recent though. I can't think of any good recent people.
Maximilian Metcher asks, do you think it's possible that Maul had another apprentice after Savage, between the Siege of Mandalore and his marooning on Malachor? We know he tried to recruit Ahsoka on Mandalore, and then on Malachor he tried to get Ezra. If Maul did train another apprentice, what do you think the idea that Maul is responsible for a bastard line of Sith Lords?
Negative.
That's
He's
pretty...
too caught up in his own shit.
It's pretty unlikely, but
He's
that
too
doesn't
much
make
of the
it...
mob
That doesn't
boss
stop it from being a
mentality.
totally badass idea. If, like, Maul, like, that was one of his revenges against Palpatine, was to, like, destroy the rule of two by, like, planting a bunch of, like, evil Sith seeds, and there's all these, like, bastard children of his
That
Sith...
was Dooku. That was Dooku's
Sith
fault,
lineage
and
everywhere.
That was Dooku's issue, and Palpatine was like, "You have too many alkalites. You must kill them, or
Right.
you must kill them.
But
I don't
maybe-
like how many alkalites you have." Blah.
But what I think this question suggests is maybe the reason that Palpatine was so quick to tell Dooku to shut it down was because he's already been here before with Maul.
That is
'Cause Maul pulled a bunch of fun-
after the fight. That
Yeah,
is
so-
mechanically after his Maul.
For all we know,
fight.
Maul had a bunch of funky apprentices that, like, you know, Palpatine then, like, nipped that in the bud before the events of Episode 1. And so then when Dooku's doing it, Palpatine's just like, not this shit again. Like, I already went through this with Maul. I'm not doing it with you. Kill Asajj, get rid of her.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I think it's feasible, but I don't think it's probable.
Maul. Yeah, he doesn't have the charisma score for that. He
Yeah.
totally has the group cult charisma score. Like that's why he's able to like gather and build so many gangs so quickly.
Yeah, he's more of
But-
like a leader than a ladies' man with his charisma.
The only time he's very specific with the people that he's tried to like engage into apprenticeship. Like Ezra, he saw like superpower force potential with Ezra, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And then with Ahsoka, I think if anyone, Ezra would have been like the apprentice he would have gone for. But what's funny about that is he kept wanting to sacrifice him at the Sith Temple, like immediately, like in a Mr. Bill situation. Where it's
Like reflexively almost,
yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
Maul.
this is just
You
what I do
can't-
here.
Yeah, you're like, he's not healthy. Ezra doesn't regenerate. You can't keep sacrificing your apprentices. That's not how it works.
Tig-Tone would make an
Sort of
excellent
situation.
Sith.
Yeah, with Ahsoka, that was an interesting interaction was that like an apprenticeship sort of thing? He was very much like,
he proposed it.
Tano, come with me.
He absolutely
was it more
proposed.
Of a Phantom of the Opera, sort of a weird sort of way. Not,
I mean,
no,
at the time,
not romantically.
At the
in any
time,
sort
it
of
was
way.
like, let's get the fuck out of here and survive. Come with me. But I think that Maul's intent was absolutely to propose, like, come with me as an apprentice
I think that was more
to
with
my like teaching. He definitely did it with Ezra, like formally. But I think that was also his intent with Ahsoka. They also he didn't really have time to elaborate it. They're on a ship like falling into the atmosphere. They just had to run.
Plus, with Ezra, he had kind of like the counter dad role with, forgetting everybody's names
Kanan.
right now.
With Kanan, yeah.
So, like, his interaction towards Ezra would have been a lot more compassionate, whereas with Ahsoka, it would have been a lot more like, this war has fucked both of us, like, let's just be, shell-shocked together, like, I have a bunch
absolutely.
of stuff to teach you, like, let's get the fuck out. Like, I'm super old, you're young, let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty realistic.
Again, nothing romantic at all.
No, I agree.
Purely just like, use my knowledge, I beg of you.
Use my knowledge. Lord of Shadows asks, do you think Moff Gideon has his own agenda, or does he work for someone, like for Palpatine or Thrawn? I think it's entirely possible that he is just like, they're introducing him as one of the kingpins of the Imperial Remnant that has no unified leadership. Like, one of its defining features is that there is no top dog. There's all these medium dogs like arguing with each other about who should be the top dog. And I feel like Gideon is he's imposing enough that he could be one of those galactic players.
He's the big game hunter.
But at the same time, this is a really great opportunity for them to like introduce Rey Sloane or Thrawn or like even Palpatine or General Price from The Rise of Skywalker, because we know that we know that he served as an Imperial before the First Order, so maybe he is like high up in the command structure right now too. It'd be great if we got to see some more of him, because that actor was great. He really killed it.
To build on that, very much so after I don't remember if it was, I want to say after World War One, but how a bunch of like those British generals and like all those old school soldiers just went out to South Africa and they were like, well, we're very militaristic, but we don't have military, so we're just gonna fucking hunt all these elephants and lions, but we're still gonna be like very soldiery about it. So like, I think it's very much like, we're the Imperial Remnant, this is who we are, fuck you all.
Right, it's more than just like a military engagement, it's become a way of life for them. So the war's over, but the lifestyle's still there.
And then when the First Order was around, like Price and some of the other admirals, they were like, well, this is similar to what we were doing before, I guess we'll join. And then Palpatine came out of the shadows, and then that's when he was just like, as I served you once before, my Emperor, I will serve you again.
Yeah, Price is a super fascinating character. He was there for like a blink of an eye. He got yeeted out a window, but it would be awesome if we got some backstory.
The character concept.
I feel like The Mandalorian is the perfect stage to do that. And if
saw that with
Gideon's
Gideon.
working for Price, I will love it.
Old school Imperial admirals just wearing their badges just because why the fuck not? They're like, look at all
Speaking of which,
bling.
I really don't like that we never learned Werner Herzog's character's name. He's just listed as the client. He's all like, I want to see the baby. And he's wearing like a big ass Imperial medallion. He's the only person we've seen with that kind of like regalia in the Empire. Like, what the fuck was his job? Who was he? And then he just dies.
Rich.
He's just the
producer.
But he's the client. Like, why is he the middleman? Like, what's his title? Like, where's his office located on?
And it doesn't matter.
I feel like we're never gonna.
It was enough for him to get blown up.
Werner Herzog's too expensive. They could only afford him for a couple episodes, and now he's dead. We're never gonna get those answers, and I just need to accept it. I think.
But you're so worth it.
Oh yeah, you are absolutely worth it. And Werner Herzog shall return to Star Wars someday to do the audiobooks. Harry Waterhouse asks, favorite character that we didn't get to see much of? Mine would be Embo. Embo's so fucking cool with his hat that he throws and just like... The bounty hunter from the Clone Wars. He's got the big old hat you can throw like Captain America's shield. He's voiced by Dave Filoni.
Gotcha.
He's got a pet dog.
So you mean like throughout any series, kind of just like...
Just any character that didn't get it, that has an undeserved amount of... They need more spotlight, yeah.
Ooh, that's a tricky...
Honestly... off the top of my head, EV-99, the torture droid in Jabba's palace, I would love to have gotten more moments with her flipping the gonk droid upside down and just like singeing the feet. This gonk droid can scream. We've never heard a gonk droid speak before. They just sort of gloss over that. Like there's weird things happening with droids in that room, and I want to know more.
Didn't you like? I vaguely remember you like saying some anecdote of like, oh yeah, this torture droid implanted the pain receptor, or turned on pain receptors. Droids.
That's what it says in Tales from Jabba's Palace.
Just to fucking torture you.
It's legends. That's not canon anymore. But in Tales from Jabba's Palace, that's what EV-99 did. Is that added in a similar fashion to a restraining bolt, like implants that would give you sensations of pain, even if that's not in your programming. Like make sure that it'll hurt before they torture you. Just fucking nuts. What about you?
I can't think of a specific character, but there is like something that I wish that we were able to see to make it more canon. More specifically canon would be the Ventress Anakin fight. Like,
ooh, from the
scar, bro. There's the only time we see it is in the cartoon.
From the Tartarovsky version.
Beautiful. But yeah,
fighting in the rain on top of the temple. God, it looks so good.
And I think we like might have gotten it in the Dark Horse comics, maybe. But yeah, like Anakin's eye scar. It's not a character. It's just a plot point.
You have reminded me. Speaking of comics,
plot points.
Well, speaking of comics and speaking of characters that don't get enough spotlight, last week, Marvel Bounty Hunters #6 came out featuring Forlom and Zuckuss. Two fucking bounty hunters that were on that bridge of the Executor, standing next to Boba Fett, standing next to IG-88 and Bosk, and yet we never hear about Forlom and Zuckuss.
And they're not hive mind, right? They're individual.
No, it's just a dude. He's a Gand. He breathes ammonia instead of oxygen, so he has a big mask, but he is just like a dude. And then he has a droid companion, Forlom, or 4LOM, apparently it's actually pronounced. But I would say that they are most deserving of some more spotlight because they're very cool and interesting concepts, and they have done pretty much nothing until now. They just attacked Bylert Valance, and that's the only thing they've done in canon. So,
Keeper of the Wills, or the Protector of the Wills.
The whole Wills organization.
Everything about Chirrut's people.
Yeah.
That was something that
some previous history.
Not a character, but a concept.
Yeah, like some sort of like street level Star Wars story about someone living in Jeddah City like 20 years before the events of Rogue One. You know, before the Star Destroyer was there. Like that would be cool.
Or just when the Jedi were there and they're like, we're gonna make crystals. That's what. Like, I just imagine Jeddah being like this weird Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs kind of city where like it's just this city of people just tinkering away, like making shit for the Jedi, like. A dwarf, like it's Aramor. Jeddah is Star Wars Aramor.
Yeah, boom. No, I see it. I can see it.
But or maybe not at all. Like, but that would have been interesting.
Official Bosk asks, if the leaks and rumors are true, would you like to see Boba tag along with Mando for a few episodes, or have a single episode about him? I think it would be a cool team up to see what Boba's reaction to how far the Mandalorians have come. I know Boba is not a Mando, but it would just be cool to see. I think it would be cool to see Boba team up with the Mando, but I think we're going to get the opposite. I think we're going to get a showdown between Boba and the Mando. I think Boba's going to be a bad guy. As he has always been. Let's point that out. Boba Fett has never been on the good guys' team, and except in situations where it also served him. But he's not a good guy. He's never been a protagonist, and I don't see any reason why that's going to change. I think that Gideon is going to hire Boba Fett himself to track down the child. Mm-hmm. I also think that we're going to get a nod in canon, because here's the thing. They haven't spelled that out for us that Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc. In canon, all that we know is that in Aftermath, Cobb Vanth bought some really heavily acid-scarred armor from some Jawas that had scavenged the wreckage of the sail barge Katana at the Dune Sea, where the Sarlacc was killed. So they found his armor, but they never found him. Could be that he was completely digested. Obviously not, because everybody knows we're about to see him very soon here. But regardless, I think that we're going to see him getting his armor back from Cobb Vanth, and then we're going to see him going and taking on the Mando.
Oh my god, could you imagine like the starting of the episode is just like shot from like knee down, just like that little like teaser clip from season 1 where they kind of gave us the spur sound for the feet.
When he's going over to Fennec Shan's body.
So the whole shot is just like someone's knees down, and you just hear the spurs is just step, 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 and then you just like see a person look up, and then you just see like someone pick up a shitload of armor and then just walk off, and then later in that episode it's like, oh, it's obviously Boba.
I am fully expecting a fake out. I'm fully expecting them to start an episode off with Boba Fett running around doing Boba Fett stuff, and then 10 minutes into it, Temuera Morrison's gonna show up and be like, hey, you're wearing my armor, motherfucker. And everyone's gonna be like, oh my god! And then he's gonna take the helmet off, and it's gonna be Cobb Vanth, and then he's gonna kill the fuck out of him, and it's gonna be a tribute to Jodo Cast and Twin Engines of Destruction. That is A, my prediction, and B, just like my fans' wish that happens, because that would be so fucking cool.
Truth.
Cool. Knight of the Force says, who is your favorite Legends character from Star Wars? Mine is Mara Jade. Mara Jade is the best. Same question for Mr. Bendu. May the Force be with you always. Well, may the Force be with you, Knight of the Force. I would say that my favorite Legends character, big surprise, is Kyle Katarn. But setting the obvious aside for a second, if I had to pick a Legends character that I really, really like, man, I really like Corran Horn. Corran Horn, Jedi Knight of the Praxium, is an overall just badass character. Had a really cool story. Or maybe like Talon Card, because his whole deal is pretty awesome. I don't know. What about you?
I mean, I've said a couple of times, like, Quinlan Vos is just like a super solid, well, Dark Horse Comics Quinlan Vos.
The Legends version, I'm sure.
I have
so not the Californian stoner surfer version from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, because like in Dark Horse, he was part of the Jedi spies. Like he was on the quieter, darker side of the Jedi Knight spectrum. He wasn't the action hero that kind of he was depicted by Filoni. Like,
sure.
He was very more much a carefree Jedi for sure. But that's because his whole family was killed by whatever the vampire.
Right, he was kind of
that has the
Anzadi.
The thing, yeah. But like at no point in time in the Filoni universe do they emphasize or talk about how the fact that he's part of that race, that if he touches a thing, he gets like the full history of said thing.
In the new canon, that's been retconned, and that's no longer a part of his race, but it's a force ability that he has now. It's called psychometry, and it's the same thing that Cal Kestis does in the Force in the Jedi Fallen Order.
Go read some Dark Horse comics if you want some good ass Quinlan.
If you want to get the good
shit,
stuff,
bro.
if you want to get the good Quinlan Vos
so
stories,
hardcore.
Dark Horse comics.
He's very. Speaking of Josh Holloway, like he's very much a Josh Holloway. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's when Dark Horse Comics was writing the series at the exact same time that Lost was coming out. So like,
yeah, that's actually a really good description. Yeah, Sawyer from Lost is absolutely the vibe of Legends.
But he looks
Quinlan
like Jason
Vos.
Momoa.
Yeah,
because he's full dreads. He's totally Jason Momoa.
Ian Number says, if you read the EU, what's your favorite Star Wars book? Legend or new canon? Doesn't matter. I would say probably the most impactful Legends book I ever read was Heir to the Jedi. Or sorry, I keep saying Heir to the Jedi. Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, the first book of the original Thrawn trilogy. It was one of the first expanded universe books that I read. I was so excited when I found out that the story doesn't stop at the end of Return of the Jedi. And after I read that one, I inhaled the next two, and then I was just off the deep end reading all of them. But because it was the first one, I always have a soft spot for Heir to the Empire, but at the same time, Vector Prime and then Dark Tide Ruin, the first two books of the New Jedi Order series, was really where things got crazy, and the Yuuzhan Vong attacked the galaxy. So I think those are probably my favorite books. What about you?
They're not necessarily. I didn't read any of the EU books or novels. I was on the other side where I definitely loved more of the. They weren't eyewitness books. They were the group of books where they did the complete meta breakdown of this is the breakdown of the engine of various star speeders. They gave you the dissections of each ship.
Right. Oh yeah.
Or this is the
the incredible cross sections.
Yeah, the incredible cross.
I love those books.
That shit was so cool.
There is a new one coming out apparently that's going to include a bunch of Mandalorian shit and new stuff combining with the old drawings, because those are some of the coolest drawings. I love those books too.
I loved a lot of the art of various episodes. I was gonna say the only random book that was really fun, but that was very D&D was the Sith Code The little red book, just because like they had so much random shit about Sith alchemy, like, and the like sides of the pages were so burnt. Like, I feel like they put a little bit more effort and emphasis into the Sith code book than they did into the Jedi code.
The Jedi one, like, looks clean, so it's easier to do.
Yeah,
you know?
like, it still has, like, little notes from, like, Luke and Yoda and Mace Windu.
I would agree that the Jedi
Sith
book,
one's so
Sith book
cool.
looks cooler.
Palpatine's handwriting is impossible to fucking read. I will say that to the publishers. But the one that also was super cool was the Bounty Hunter one. Cause, like,
the Bounty Hunter. I have the Bounty Hunter one.
It was, like, going through... like an like a published Indiana Jones notebook sort of a
totally.
thing.
It was like a tracker's
really
guide.
Cool. Exactly. I really appreciated
a well-traveled person's journal
for the campiness of them. But yeah, it was much more.
Palpatine's handwriting is super hard to read. Like, I'm just imagining him at his desk, like,
"Fuck you, future students! Like, you can't read this shit."
Yeah,
that
is exactly what he was doing. God.
Rocket Star Player asks, if Boba is in Season 2, in your opinion, what will be his role? Is he going to be friendly or hostile to the Mando? We've already answered this. I think he's going to be a bad guy. I think he's going to be a bad guy trying to get Baby Yoda. Maybe he'll get convinced and come around and become a good guy, but he will be introduced to us as a problem for Mando. Cameron Irvine asks, do you think we'll see any more of Quinlan Vos post Order 66?
Again, like, that's a hard one, because Dark Horse was the only one who really gave a shit. Well, not gave a shit, but Dark Horse was the only one
utilized him.
Gave him a post-66 story with, like, having a kid and still getting married and surviving. Theoretically, there was a Star Wars Tales story where he runs into young he runs into young Han Solo, and it's Han Solo's first, like, kind of like, oh, you're what a space wizard sort of looks like.
Oh, shit.
Sort of a thing, yeah.
Weird.
I think Han, like, either...
Why would Han... What?
So I think he pickpockets Quinlan's lightsaber from a bounty hunter who's hunting Quinlan, sort of shit.
But does he see Quinlan do stuff with the Force?
I think the bounty hunter... I could be completely, like...
Because he has to be all skeptical of the Force in Episode 4, so he can't, like, see a bunch of stuff with his own eyes. Then he's just being an ass to Obi-Wan later.
It's a situation where, like... this is, like, teenage Han. Like, maybe, like... Yeah, no. Like 15, 16-year-old Han. I think it was a situation...
Back when he ran away from the Sal Solos.
Exactly. I think it was something where, like, he almost ran into a Sarlacc. No, he didn't run into a Sarlacc. He almost ran into something... And then Quinlan, like, used the Force to, like, save him from, like, doing whatever little kid thing. And then he, like, you know, pushed him, threw him off to the side. And then that also revealed that Quinlan was, like, Quinlan. I think it was something like the bounty hunter threw Kid Han Solo in the, like, into danger.
Oh, and he, like, caught him with the Force.
To prove that, like, this is my mark. But I could be completely, like...
I'm gonna look that up. Because
Star Wars Tales.
I want to read that one. Yeah, I have all of Star Wars Tales, so I'm gonna comb through them and see which one that is. Owen Paris, what other sci-fi are you a fan of besides Star Wars? Well, there's quite a list. I think we've already named a few of them. Like, we talked about Farscape a little while ago. I love Farscape. One of my favorite shows that I watched. I watched it as it aired. Same story with Battlestar Galactica. Was a big fan. Have seen the original. Didn't like it as much. Like, I know it's a classic, but I did really like the show. I actually got to meet Colonel Ty at a convention once and made an ass of myself. I'll tell that story later. But I really like Warhammer 40k. I like Warhammer Fantasy too, but that doesn't count as sci-fi. Blade Runner is excellent. I've seen like half a season of The Expanse. Didn't finish it.
I found it.
You found what?
The
the Star Wars Tales? Which one is it?
It is so what we were just previously talking about with Quinlan Vos. It is called Ghost. Ghost was a story found in Star Wars Tales 11, written and illustrated by Jan Dursema. I'm sorry if I say her last name incorrectly. It involves a young Han Solo attempting to find a lost treasure and encountering old Jedi Quinlan Vos, who is on the run from bounty hunters. Solo later finds out that the treasure is Quinlan's lightsaber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which issue is it?
It just says Star Wars Tales 11.
Okay, 11. Cool.
It says it's 8 pages.
Nice. Yeah, no. They're all pretty
Star
short.
Wars Tales 11, publisher Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah. I have it.
Yeah,
I have it on the hard
dope.
drive. I'll pull it up in a little bit. We can look at it.
But yeah, just like the description says, it definitely says it's old man Quinlas, so that doesn't mention anything about his wife or kids. So assuming they're dead, whatever.
That dang seagull who bothers the neighbors asks.
Is that the full name?
That is the name of this person, and I like it. If you had to be a part of any particular faction or society within the galaxy far, far away, what would it be and why? I would not join the Empire. I'm just going to throw that out there first of all. You see a lot of helmets behind me. I know I got a Star Destroyer back there, but fuck the Empire. I would be a Mandalorian. And if I get wiped out, I get wiped out. This is the way. I don't care. I'd wear Beskar and fly around with a rocket pack, never take my shit off. Like, I'm fine with that, you know? Trim my beard shape to be like roughly the same shape as the bottom of a helmet, and then it would work.
You just need a sock. You just need a face sock, like a fucking Power Ranger. Like, you'd be fine.
Yeah, take your helmet off. You look like you're ready to rob a liquor store.
Like, yeah, or if you wear like the chainmail face thing, like the old Templar Knight in Indiana Jones.
I do.
Oh, Lord of the Rings. We definitely did not say Lord of the Rings, answering the previous question of whatever.
The question was about sci-fis. The question was about sci-fis specifically.
Oh, I guess that's more fantasy.
I have a list of fantasies that I didn't mention that's as long as my leg. Like I love sci-fi and fantasy equally, maybe even a little bit more with fantasy. Honestly, I really do dive into that deep. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, amazing. But yeah, no, that would be my faction. I'd be a Mandalorian. I wouldn't be a Jedi or a Sith. What about you?
I would really try. I would get laughed at a lot. I very well know it. I mean, I would get laughed at within the community. I would very much try to hang out with the Night Sisters. I
You would get
like
laughed at by them.
There's just so
They'd
much
be like,
random shit.
They'd be like, who the
I
fuck
feel
is
like-
this guy?
Exactly. It would literally be like Wonder Woman, where what's his nuts crashes on the planet.
I'm assuming the
on an
question.
island.
I'm assuming the question is like
Like, look at
posing
this
like if you
dude,
could be
like,
born
why is
into
this-
any of
this
these
dude
places,
here?
kind of thing, you know?
It's true.
Because like, in order for this question to work, Star Wars would have to exist first of all. So if that's possible, why not have like you are a Night Sister in this case? Like, if you
Yeah.
could be a part of a faction, I wouldn't be
Jedi
like
is too
I wouldn't be
obvious.
fucking me
Well,
putting on a
Jedi's
helmet
not
being a
accepted,
Mandalorian. I would be
no.
like some guy who like grew up in that life and has been flying jetpacks since I was 6 years old. Like that's what I would want.
That would be cool.
Like grew up as a Mandalorian. So you could. They wouldn't laugh at you in
I
that
would
case. You
say,
could just
yeah,
be
I
a
would
Night
say
Sister, you know,
yeah.
or like an Eridonian Zabrak, you know. Yeah, no, that would be sweet. I think I'd be a Mandalorian though for sure, and I would be. So the whole thing about like Mandalorians don't care about taking their helmets off in the Clone Wars, and they don't seem to care about it in Rebels. But then in the
There's so many
Mandalorian,
good memes
as soon as Mandalorian shows up, this is the way. We never take them off. Like, and they're all very like they're very devout about it.
There's so many good cartoons of Sabine, or not Sabine, of Steel, just like whoop.
Yeah,
Take
like
your
all the
helmet
time,
off
just
and, like,
all the
talking
time,
to
just
whoever the
popping
fuck.
them off. They pop them off all the time, and I like to think of it as sort of like an Orthodox versus Reformed kind of thing. Like we saw a whole bunch of Reformed
It could
Mandos in Clone Wars and Rebels, and then
It
we see
could
these
be after
Orthodox
the Purge.
fuckers. It could also be a
It
post.
could be a post-purge thing.
That's true
We
because
don't take our
Rebels
shit off post-purge.
Mando is all pre-purge as well. That's true. That's something they don't consider is that everything that we've
Post-purge.
seen up until Mandalorian was pre-purge. So it could very well become like something
This
that
is
evolved
like,
out of.
This is our sign of like respect to those who have been fallen and like been sacrificed.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps. I fucking love that. That's
We
what
do
I think
not-
it is
we
now.
do not take our helmets off. for
Yeah, no,
those who have
this
died,
is the way because the people behind us like the came before us didn't make
because
it.
the
So, like,
Empire stole all that armor and melted it down. So now we keep our shit on.
every time I see a Mandalorian,
Oh.
every time I see a Mandalorian meme that I love, I always comment like, "This meme has been taken in the Great Purge. Like, look, it is mine now, and I will use it.
It's true.
It is being reclaimed." Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in for the Q&A, everybody, and thank you for submitting awesome and ridiculous and very insightful questions. I hope we answered them to your satisfaction, and if not, you'll just have to tune in next time for more of the same.
Which is going to be great because as this is the start of Mandalorian Season 2, there will be plenty of opportunities for, upcoming things.
Yes, and speaking of which, following every episode, following every reaction of Mandalorian, we're going to be posting a poll referencing the episode we just watched and announcing the results of the poll in the following episode. So make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video so you can participate in the poll as well. Cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the rest of the channel for more content, reactions, and reviews.
Kind of like as we just did, leave us a comment or a question, or hit that subscribe button.
If you want to join the Discord community, there's a link to that in the description of the video. You can check it out down below. And if you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/KyleKatarn channel. Thanks again, and as always, may the Force be with you.